Thousands of residents in Chile forced to evacuate as a volcano roars to life in the country's south.
In these unpredictable times, you can never be too prepared. Mentally, physically, financially, agriculturally. Real people, real problems, real activism. Welcome to the Bob Tuskin Radio Show with your host, Bob Tuskin.
All right, let's jump right back into it. It's hour number 2 of the Bob Tuskin Radio Show. We are live. It's June 10th, 2011. And joining us this hour on the program, our good friend Scott from the Believers Underground. Scott Bug, how are you, buddy? We love you. Are you there? We had you just a second ago. Scott Bug. All right, well, thought he was there. He was there just a second ago. And I know Robert on the line can account for that. Robert, you heard me talking to him, right?
I did. I heard him.
Oh, man.
He was crazy.
Magically disappeared. Anyways, Robert, you also co-host a show on Oracle Broadcasting, and tell the listeners about that. And finish any of your thoughts, and then, as you know, it's a short segment, so we'll hand it over to Scott and hear his response when we get back.
Well, thank you. Yeah, the show I co-host with Mike and Sky at Esoteric Radio on Sunday nights from 6 to 8, and it's a really good show. We talk about a great many deal things, just like this program does. So if you guys, you're interested, you want to listen in, please do, and call in, because the more people that listen, call in, the more power we have against these tyrannical powers that be.
Well, thank you for calling my show, and I'll be sure to call your show as well sometime.
Well, thank you, Bob. Thank you very much.
And your final thoughts on, where were we? About the expanding Earth and that kind of thing?
Right. Just the expanding Earth is this, that, look, we are going to go through some traumatic times here. It's more than evident. I mean, all the animal deaths, and these are definitely geomagnetic deaths being caused, especially as far as the mammals and fish in the oceans and lakes. Of course, the birds. This has been dramatic. It's never been seen before, as far as I know, in history. So we can definitely look forward to something very drastic happening. But I think it's going to be more towards coastal plains than anything else. Because if you look at all of the tectonic plates and the ring of fire, where they are located, how they're located, these are all coastal plains. So I think they're going to be very localized in those areas. I mean, as dramatic as Japan's earthquake and tsunami, and of course Fukushima, which is still just going around the planet. I think it'll be localized in those areas, but I can't say for sure, but it sure looks that way. I mean, all the volcanic activity we've had, these are all on coastal plains.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
So, and also, I mean, one more point I want to bring up. I mean, I called in to actually, I'd spoken to Jordan Maxwell about these spiral petroglyphs. Well, these spiral petroglyphs, and you can actually look this up. They run from South America, Central, North America, up into Canada and Alaska, but they're located on all these coastal plains. And there's some very dramatic scenes in these spiral pictographs that they show of people running from water and people running towards mountaintops. And you can see their animals running with them. So
wow.
I mean, this is not. I mean, it's not science fiction. This is science fact.
You know,
So I thought we'd just bring that up.
yeah, well, Robert, that's fascinating stuff. And let's cover that on a future show. I'm interested in that. And we'll connect with Scott from the Believers Underground in just a moment, as well as Shepard Ambella. Stand by. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Bob Tuskin Show. This hour, Scott from the Believers Underground. If you'd like to call in, phone number 866-841-1065. Toll free 866-841-1065. And without any further ado, let's bring our good friend, director of the Civilian Intelligence Agency, otherwise known as theintelhub.com, none other than
Shepard Ambella. How's it going?
There was something to it. Scott, are you back with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Did you get to hear some of that?
Yeah, I definitely did.
What do you think? What's your take on that?
Well, I've been screaming it from the rooftops for 2 years now, man. This earth is in trouble. It's like a lead weight on a tire. You take that lead weight off of one area and you put it somewhere else, that tire starts to spin out of balance, and that's what's happening. You got these huge ice glaciers that are leaving the ice pack and all the Arctic seas up there, and they're going into the ocean. These are geofragile zones. These are water glaciers now. And I mean, they're heavy as heck. And with the different evaporation rate of fresh water and salt water, one freezes at 32, the other 28. You're getting a mass evaporation, and it's causing the ocean currents to stall. So that's your El Nino and El Nina. And I mean, it's just a domino. This is bad news, and it only gets worse from here. My first video I put up was the 2030 report out of Washington D.C., and that's Margaret Beckett, and they don't call it climate change anymore. They call it climate security, and NATO runs it. You'll probably see over the next coming weeks or months, how they're going to try to shift NATO's role into some other different type of role. And, it's going to be interesting, but they've had this in the works for a while now, and this is all the results from post-glacial rebound effect, man. We get all this water to leave, and it goes over there, and and I told people, man, it messes with the magnetic field. I put up a video yesterday of a video I did back in 2009 telling them just that, showing them with a nice little easy plate experiment, so they could see it for themselves. And it's a magma push as well. The ocean floor sinks, it pushes the magma. So, and I said that on my second video, we're going to have an increase to 200 to 400% in volcanic activity. And I think with this latest ones in Mexico and Chile, I think we've hit 400% now.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Scott, let's pick that up on the other side of this break. And, Shep, I'll let you discuss some of the ins and outs with Scott as well. Stand by. We'll be right back with Scott from the Believers Underground on the Bob Tuskin Show.
Stay asleep, obey. When he looks at it with his eyes, it's what we see. When he looks at it with the sunglasses, we're seeing the same things all the way through, the subliminal, symbolic that you couldn't see. Obey, no independent thought, don't think for yourself.
A little music from Chris, Gio, and Cherie right there. I'm Shepard Ambella. Somehow I found myself hosting the Bob Tuskin Show all of a sudden.
No, you're not hosting the show. Now.
What? You told me I could host it.
Well, you could bring us back from the break, but that doesn't mean you're hosting.
I thought I was going to get to host it.
No.
So,
if you're going to
Scott,
host, go ahead already. Jeez.
all right. So Scott Bug from Believers Underground, we were talking about these earth changes. I was talking with you during the break about these massive fissures that are opening up all around the world, and some smaller ones throughout the U.S. There's some videos on YouTube where people are out like in their field, and the field's just expanding. What's your take on that?
Well, yeah, it's happening. You know, in the higher elevations, it'll be permafrost melting and refreezing, and then in the say like off the coast of Oregon and stuff, then you're dealing with the coast is tilting. Okay, that I put that video up like a year and a half ago on YouTube. The coast is tilting off the coast of Washington, Vancouver, Oregon, all the way down to the upper part of California. But that came out of the Canadian earthquake site. You know, this was their reports, man. You know, ocean floor sinks, coast tilts. So it's basically what you're going to be looking at is more shoreline here.
Yeah.
But you know, I did a couple videos on that the ground opening up anomaly. I did one when I was up in Michigan. You know, I just happened to be up there in Michigan. Carney Art threw it up. He was over there on the scene, and he was walking it, and USGS didn't have any earthquake recorded on it because there was no earthquake. You'd need a P and an S signature, and it didn't have either. And what that one was the piping system under the planet. So you got the Great Lakes right there, and you had too much water or too much pressure on one of these pipelines, and they bulge and they'll break up on the surface. And that's what you're experiencing over there in Oregon.
Sure.
They're experiencing it around the world. You know, after that Japan quake, you know, it was a 9 that lasted 5 minutes. I mean, holy smokes.
Right.
All the aquifers around the planet, you know, the groundwater and stuff was sloshing for hours and hours. And that was reported by USGS. It was right there on their site. And some wells just emptied out and some overfilled. You know, there was all kinds of weird stuff happening. Then you had the oil platform get sucked in the next day down there in the Gulf. And then you had 2 big, huge whirlpools off the coast of the Venezuela and the Atlantic Ocean pop up out of nowhere. You know, so it causes vacuum effects. It causes all kinds of stuff in the piping system. But yeah, this Earth's got some troubles, you know, especially where we're going through in the solar system right now. Holy smokes. I mean,
a lot of stuff going on.
Well, you know, after they adopted Gorski's methodology of this science, you know, which they just did this year. It came out of Science and Tech. I guess it was validated through CERN. Boy, CERN. But anyhow, you know, that means we're going to a very bad place in the Milky Way.
Yeah.
You know
what, Scott, let's take a call. Callboy, let's go to Jeff in Ontario.
Who is Callboy exactly?
That'd be you.
Oh, okay. Let's hang up on a former co-host of the show and then take a call. No, I'm joking. Jeff and I are good buddies. We can joke around like this. Jeff in Ontario had a question or two for Scott about some Earth changes and whatnot, and he's in Canada, so what great of time to bring him on the line. Jeff, as always, welcome to the Bob Tuskin Show.
Well, thanks a lot, Bob, and thanks a lot for the interlude over the commercial break there, getting to the back end of the show. Hope you were able to anyway, I really started noticing things myself after the 2004 earthquake and tsunami over in the Indian Ocean. I'm noticing now here, I'm in southern Ontario, and our floodplains here, when we have, of course, storms have increased because of storms and whatnot, blah, blah, that our floodplains and our creeks and whatnot emptying into the rivers, into the Great Lakes, is taking much, much longer. And Scott was talking about the tilting and whatnot, and you know that tweaked my interest there. And I'm kind of wondering here in the plains of the Great Lakes, whether or not we have also shifted. That